Okay guys, we only have a couple of minutes. Here are some of the lifters. One you saw me toss in the pail. These two right here are stuck. Whoops, there you go. I don't plan on using these obviously. And this one is free. Okay, just one thing I would like to show you. If this was a mechanical lifter, that wouldn't move right there. Okay, if you measure from here to here, we'll just pick a number, 100 thousandths. Mid-seated is 50 thousandths. So when you do your push rod adjustment and you tighten everything down, it's got to land like right there. Okay, that's what they call mid-seating. That's why setting up hydraulic stuff is a little more complicated. If I soak these in oil for a week, a month, a year, it doesn't matter. And I put the push rod here and I set everything up. Every time I crank the motor, it bleeds down a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more. Because like I said in one of my videos, oil comes in the side, comes out the top, goes out your push rod. The second it hits the ramp and this pushes down, it seals the check bowl. Okay? And nothing flows through it. It becomes hydrolocked. The valve opens, valve closes, and as soon as it frees up and it releases itself a little bit, okay, there's no longer a load on it, just moves up that hair, oil flows through again. So if you have these mid-seated and you're checking piston clearance or you're getting push rod length, every time you crank the motor, it loses a little bit more pressure if there's no oil pressure in it. You understand? And what actually takes up the gap is the spring. The spring takes up the gap, the oil flows through it, and then once you put a load on it, it hydrolocks. It's a one-way check valve. Just picture it as a mechanical diode. Okay? So if I put this in my engine full of oil, put everything in the engine, I put the grease on the tip of the valve up here like you see people do. I have this all set up and I crank the motor around by hand to look for my pattern as it moves to see if it stays in the center and it's not, wicking its way off. As I crank it, this thing is gonna lose pressure in it. So if it's a 500 lift cam, you only might get 400 lift. So your reading is inaccurate. That's why those tests are not valid. Same with checking for piston to valve clearance, because every time you move it, this bleeds down more. So every time you do it, the valve might open 475, 450, it might even be more dramatic, 300. As long as there's some kind of oil in there when you fire up the car and it doesn't bleed down 100%, or in the olden days when you heard your lifters tick till it warmed up, that's because that little check valve was gummed up. So as a ramp would come, to lift it, this would bottom out. That's the tick. Okay, and as it warmed up, okay, it would allow itself to seal, and the tick would go away sometimes. Sometimes. That's why if you ever had a car that ran low on oil, the first thing you do is hit the lifter's tick, because you'd be pumping air throughout. It'd be aerated oil, and you can't compress it. Well, you can compress air. It doesn't hydrolock, so it ticks. Then you put that 2 quarts of oil and then all of a sudden the ticking starts to go away. That's what you're doing. So every time that hits the bottom, you make a mechanical contact on something that shouldn't have mechanical contact. I have a feeling the way these were packaged, I have 4 bad lifters. Okay? I got a feeling that they're rusted. And I'm going to open them up to find out. So I just took off this retainer. Okay? Didn't do anything else. I'm going to tip it. Make my life easier. Okay, so there's the seat. The plunge is moving on this one. I don't have much video. That's why where I'm grabbing is not scratching anything. Not that I'm reusing it, but it's not going to have an effect. You see there? It's coming, but it's stuck. I don't see. Yes, I do. See it? See the rust, guys? You think that's oil? That's oil mixed with rust right there. And it's in there. If you look, if you see this machine surface on the outside, you see it on the inside. You can see it in there. See it? It's all in there. Mint. Did these rust when I've had them? No. These been in the house until I installed these the other day. There's your little tiny, forget about this, there's your spring that takes up your lash. There's your little check valve, and if you're looking here sideways, there's a spring. I'm about to run out of video. That's what seals the hydrolocking. So that's what sticks and you get your ticking sound, and this thing is slamming the bottom. Look at the crap in here. See the flaking? The little flakes of it? This one doesn't move either. The one I just put back together. So this one doesn't move at all, and you can see the rust right around the edge. So where were these things laying that they rusted? That is the question. By the way, I have a new set of lifters coming from Schneider. They should be here during next week. They were ordered yesterday, shipped out today. That's it, guys. Out of video.